So there's another part in chapter 4 that I love. It says, to be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live life on a spiritual basis are not easy alternatives to face. For us. Turns out the normies think this is kind of a no-brainer. You can check this one out. Go get yourself a clipboard and stand in front of a Walmart and stop people when they're coming out. Excuse me, I'm taking a survey. Would you rather die an alcoholic death or live life on a spiritual basis? Am I on candid camera? I'll take the spiritual deal. See, most people will go get in the long line, if you ever do that Walmart test, you know if you catch one of us, I'm taking a survey, alcoholic death or spiritual life, and you get this. You gonna be here tomorrow? But I got it. I'm finally, after reading this thing 6 times, I got it. And the book says you don't have to accept anyone's concept of God. If you read what's actually in there in the black part in the book, it says you don't have to accept anyone's concept of God, but it's pretty clear you're going to have some kind of a concept of a higher power, the source of the universe. But you can choose it. You get to choose what it is and how you address it. And I never saw that anyplace else. And it got my attention. I didn't have an epiphany when I realized what that said, but I went back to AA. And I started going regularly. I started going 5 or 6 times a week. And different groups all over the place. I didn't really want anybody to get to know me, but I kind of wanted to get an overview. In LA, there's at that time there was about 2,000 meetings in a week, and so I would just go to these different meetings. So I didn't have a home group. I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't want a sponsor. I didn't have a home group or a sponsor. I didn't read the book. I didn't take the steps. I didn't know what a tradition was. I didn't believe in God, and I was drinking every day. If you don't count that stuff, I had a pretty decent program, which, my program was keep coming back. That was the whole deal. And at one point, I used to raise my hand. Anybody with less than 30 days, Doug alcoholic. Do we have any new friends with us under 30 days? Doug alcoholic. Doug alcoholic. Doug alcoholic. I just got tired of it after about a couple months of it. And finally, one day I didn't raise my hand, and this girl at the end of the table said to her friend, Doug's got 30 days. And I realized what happened. All of a sudden, I didn't raise my hand, so she thought I had 30 days. And I'm thinking, you're drinking every day. It's going to be a long time before you have 30 days, man. But she thought I had 30 days, and she shared it with a friend, and now I don't want to make her look bad, so I took a chip. They said, anybody want to take a 30-day chip? Yeah, I got up. And everybody's going, yay, Doug, yay, Doug. How do they know my name? Doug alcoholic, Doug alcoholic. And, I said, it's nothing, because it was nothing, it was like, but now I have a sobriety date, 30 days before my first bogus chip. So I started going all over to Chandler Lodge and the Valley Group, and the Valley Group was good. I went over there for a noon meeting one time, and I was going to take like a 30 or a 60, but I heard this girl say to her friend, my sponsor says I can't have sex till I'm sober 6 months. So I took a 6-month chip over there. I don't know that I'm going to get lucky, but if I do, I don't want it to hinge on how much sobriety I have, By the way, how long are you sober? 6 months, honey, right here, I mean, the fact is, I couldn't have got lucky in a women's prison with a pocket full of pardons, so I had 4 different sobriety dates at 4 different groups, and one night I came home from a meeting after I'd been doing this for about 8 months, and I did what I usually do. I came home with a bottle of whiskey, and I laid on the floor and watched TV and drank whiskey. Passed out. Woke up about 3 a.m. That's usual. Woke up about 3 a.m. and turned off the TV, and I got my bottle, and I crawled on my hands and knees through the house into the bedroom. Some people call that pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. I just called it going to bed. You know, remember when I first thought of it, I thought it was brilliant. Hey, you can't fall off the floor. And got into my bedroom, and I stood up to get undressed, and I lost my balance. I fell, and I spilled this whiskey all over the bed. Oh, geez, and there was a little bit left. I set it in a safe place, and I grabbed this bedspread off the bed, and I started sucking whiskey out of it. And a voice in my head said, "Hey, man, that ain't right." You thirsty man, there's whiskey in the bottle. No, I'm not thirsty, I'm frugal. I'll waste my life, but I ain't letting Irish whiskey evaporate in the bedspread overnight. Look at what I was doing. I had no excuse for it. I understood that I was doing that because I was an alcoholic, but I didn't know what to do about it. I've been going to AA for 8 months, and I haven't learned how to not suck whiskey out of a bedspread. Maybe I'm one of those hopeless losers. I don't know. The book says there are people who can't get this thing. Some people are incapable of being honest with themselves. I wasn't particularly honest. I lied to everybody. Probably the most honest thing I ever did before I stopped drinking was my first wife said, "All right, Doug, I want the truth. Did you sleep with my sister?" And I said, "Not a wink." And but I'm on my knees and sucking whiskey out of a bedspread and don't know what to do about it. And I did a dumb thing because I was out of ideas. I said, "God, if you're there, please help me." And I absolutely meant it. It was a sincere prayer of surrender, but I did not think for 1 second anybody was listening. And I just said it. I was out of ideas. I went to bed and I went to sleep. And over the next couple of weeks, every day some strange thing would happen. The next day I went into my neighborhood liquor store. Everybody behind the counter of that liquor store knew me and knew what I drank. The difference was whether I was going to get a pint or a half pint. And I walked into that liquor store, and there's a guy I know from AA behind the counter. I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "No, what are you doing here?" Well, I just came to get some smokes. I got my cigarettes, and I went someplace else and got a bottle. And I'm in a restaurant in Burbank, and started to order this meal. I started to order a margarita, and the waitress is somebody I know from AA. And I never saw her here before. I'm in the Vaughn's Market, in the liquor department, and I reach up for a bottle. Somebody from AA is pushing a cart towards me. I'm like, "Hey, one day at a time, keep it simple. Beautiful life, isn't it?" And didn't get my bottle. She's pushing the cart all over the store. But these things are happening to me every day, and it didn't keep me from drinking. But after a while, you can't not notice it. It just created little hurdles that I had to jump over to get a drink. And a practicing alcoholic will jump over to whatever hurdle necessary. But after a while, you can't not notice it. And after 2 weeks of this, I was on the way to work one morning, early in the morning, 6:30, and I just killed a half pint of Bushmills, and I don't keep empty bottles in the car. They're illegal and useless. And so I rolled down the window, and I'm about to toss this bottle, and a guy from AA is driving towards me. And he saw me and waved just as I let that bottle go in front of his car at 6:30 a.m. And I saw him go, whoa, and I thought, where are these people coming from? And what do? They send AA police all over the county? I mean, God, every time I pick up a drink, there's some bozo from AA there. They're like cockroaches. Rarely have we seen a person fail. And I thought, it's like those stupid miracles they talk about in the meetings. And I pulled the car over to the side of the road, and I just, like a slideshow, I saw myself on my knees in my bed, saying, "God, if you're there, please help me." And every day since then, every time I reach for a drink, there's somebody from AA there. I mean, that's what they say. You ask for help and you get the help. But I didn't know it was that literal. I thought, really? Really? And it was like I could hear God laughing, you know. I sat there and realized that I had asked for help, that I had gotten help, and I came to believe. That's what happened to me. I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. It was my second step. And I didn't realize at the time, oh my God, I'm at the second step. I just came to believe. And I don't know if those were miracles or just coincidences like they seem. But and you know what? I can't tell the difference between a miracle and a coincidence anyway. But it changed my life. I started to hear the music of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I stopped drinking. And I went back to my home group. I told them I had this major Bill Wilson white light experience. They said, "Great, Doug, maybe you'll stay sober." Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to sound special or anything, you know, but I had the Bill Wilson white light experience. Great. I hope it keeps you sober, Doug. Okay, look, I'm sorry about you guys and your educational variety, you know, but I had the white light deal. And this old timer said, "Hey, pal, you know what? Bill Wilson had the educational variety. You had the educational variety. According to you, you came around here for 8 months listening to what we said until you finally got it. You know what? That white light you think you saw was your head coming out of your ass." So I'm glad you explained it to me. But I stepped into AA with a whole different thing. When I had 30 days, I went to the Burbank group on a Thursday night, and that's chip and cake night at the Burbank group. They only have 2 a week, Sunday morning and Thursday night. And I went over there Thursday night to get my first honest 30-day chip. I had enough chips to open a casino by then, but I had never earned one. And I went over there, and they said, "Anybody for 30 days?" And I got up and took my chip, and I said, "My name's Doug, I'm an alcoholic." And they said, "Hi, Doug." And I felt like an AA member. And I understand today, I was an AA member before I actually felt like one, but it's not the same thing. Mark Twain said the difference between lightning and lightning bugs, you know, and that's what it was. It was all of a sudden I felt like I belonged here, and I got down and watched people take 60 and 90-day chips, 6-month chips, and a 3-year cake, and a 7-year cake, and a 19-year cake, and I was just excited about it all. And at the coffee break, I started getting my coffee, and a guy stopped me and said, Hey, congratulations on 30 days. I said, "Thanks." He said, "You know what the secret is?" I said, "Don't drink?" He said, "No, that's not it. We don't drink here. But the deal here, man, is hang on. A lot of people don't. Can you do that?" I said, "Well, that's what I've been doing." He said, "Keep doing that, you'll be fine." So you get 30 days, they tell you the secret. I'm so excited. I'm looking for a sponsee, you know. I want to help somebody, you know, and before I could find a victim, there was a guy at the Burbank group named Jim Baker. He died about 8 years ago, but he was a fixture at Burbank, and he was one of these Southern-born, glad-handed, back-slapping alcoholics. He wore suspenders and a straw fedora, and he came up to me and said, "Son, congratulations on that 30 days." I said, "Thanks." He said, "You know what the secret is?" I said, "Sure do, hang on." He said, "No, let go." Oh, okay, all right. The old timers are diametrically opposed to what the secret is, but I get it. You know, I'm hearing the music now. I'm hearing the music of Alcoholics Anonymous. That thing, that rhythm, that harmony, that melody that makes the words make sense. The guy that said, "Hang on," is talking about keep coming back, stay close, stay in the middle of the herd. They used to say, stay in the middle of the herd. And Jim that told me let go is talking about let go and let God. Surrender. The war's over. You lost. You know, it's real easy stuff around you. It's real easy. I was going to meetings, and I got a sponsor, and the sponsor hadn't told me to read the book, so I didn't read the book. But people I knew it was important. People are always quoting it. But here's the thing. I figured I got a good